As we have seen in our previous video, the business has many decisions to make. And the financial modeling is a way to make a decision making in order to evaluate the various choices we may have in order to project the things. So here in this video, we are going to look at some of the key aspects that can be solved by using the financial modeling. Before we go into the details on how we do the financial modeling. So financial modeling is basically will be helping in pricing and costing decisions, where we can make decisions about the what is the standard cost of the product, and then based on the pricing, based on those costs, what would be the variable cost, how would the price should change based on if there is any change in the pricing, is there any if there is any change in the standard costing, if there is any change in the raw material or the input cost that we are using. And also it will help us to understand the different scenarios of change in the price and the demand and their impact on the profitability. Certain cost will change based on how we price the product. When you are pricing the product very low, a high volume would be attracted. Then when you have a high volume, you would have definitely higher cost of production and overheads. When you are selling something at a very high price, the production will be low, but then you will not but then you may be saving on certain resources and you may not save on certain resources. You may not be able to get the economies of scale, while you may not need to hire a lot of big space rental and the labor cost. So what would be the impact of these two decisions on the overall profitability? Which decision is better, to go with the low prices high volume, or with the high prices low volume, or with a medium range? What would be the ideal choice where the company's profit would be optimal? So that is one decision that we need to take. Then once you have been doing the pricing and decisions in the capital budgeting decisions, usually financial modeling helps in evaluating, should we buy the equipment or should we rent it out? Maybe by renting, you may not need to pay the initial capital investment, but you may need to pay a lot of operating expenses. You may save tax, you may not have to worry about the maintenance, while by buying you are paying upfront, but you are saving the monthly expenses. So which option is better in terms of its impact on the overall profitability of the company and also the capital requirements? What Where it's better to have a increase in the value of the company? Then you also may be thinking about, should we repair the faulty equipments or should we buy a new one? What is the life left, what is the our monthly expenses, what we have to spend now? So these are all the choices that the company is keep on making on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, or even on a yearly basis. Then you are planning for a capacity, how big our capacity should be, when you would need that capacity. You would need a higher capacity in next 2 year 3 year. Should we buy now or should we expand later? When you are expanding later, you normally have to have certain extra expenses on the reinstallation, or you may be putting there would be some disruptions while the if you put the plan if you put the excess capacity in the beginning. You may be overspending the money in the beginning and the capacity would be idle. There may be some electricity expenses, there may be space rental expenses. So what is the right size to start with, depending on how the business has scaled? So the financial modeling will be able to help you to make those decisions. Then you are making operational decisions. So operational decision may include, do you want to do it yourself, do you want to outsource certain things? Doing yourself means you have a high labor cost, lower means you have a high fixed cost but low variable cost. Doing outsource means you don't have a fixed cost, but you may have a higher variable cost. So what is better for the company, depending on how you are growing? So the financial modeling will be able to help you out. Then you have to have fixed and variable cost commitment. Do you want to buy the equipments, or do you want to use the automotive technologies? Do you want to use the more on manual labor oriented processes? So how you want to commit the expenses, that again is will be helping them to make a decision. Then you are going to do operational budgets, marketing budgets. What kind of operational expenses you want to commit? What is would be the marketing expense? What would be the spend on what would be the results? So all of these decisions will translate into financial profits, and normally financial models help to make these decisions by letting the users understand the impact of what the decision is going to be. Then normally the financial forecasting and projections are done every year, every 3 months, every 6 months by the companies to understand the value, to understand where we are going, to understand what has been done and plan the businesses in the future. So you may be doing three statement forecast, with three statement means your balance sheet, your profit and loss, your cash statements, so that you can make a business plan. What would be your profit and loss for the next year, next 2 years, next 5 years? What would be the cash projection? When you will need the funding? How much you would need the funding? In order to understand and plan ahead. Then you may also doing the scenario managing. What as we have discussed in the previous three decisions, you may have a choice. So you will be doing a scenario. What would be the impact of this pricing? What would be the impact of capital investment? What how should we do major spending now or later? So these are all scenario managing. Then you will be also doing the discounted cash flow and ROI. Most of the decisions that the corporates are making, always there is a question: what is the ROI? What is the payback period? If I spend this much, what if how many years or how many months I will get my money back? So the financial modeling is going to help you to make these decisions and evaluate your choices. So that's all about the why what the financial modeling will help. Now in the next video we're going to be looking at how you are going to do the financial modeling, what you should be doing, what is the process of doing the financial modeling.